Hello, everyone. I'm really excited about this topic today that I just wanted to jump on here and chat with you about. And I love coaching people because it always inspires me to hop on. So chances are that if I'm hopping on with you, it's because I um, I really just felt something that everyone needed to hear me speak into. And so this time um, it's about tapping into that part of your business that causes you to have passion. Now, I just wrote a post a couple of days ago about this, and I wanted to bring it here. And it was about falling in love. And I was talking about how when I first fell in love with Brad, you know, uh, all the feelings that would come up when I fell in love. And I can't tell you how many people, myself included, are like, oh, I just can't be consistent in doTERRA. I cannot be disciplined. I'm not showing up. I can't do follow up. I can't do this. I can't do that. And one of the things that I have come to realize is that one of the things that had happened for me in the last 4 years is that I lost my passion. And I recently just got it back starting probably in January. But I kind of semi-retired, as you know. So I did the S part of pipes, but I didn't do any of the pipe part of pipes. And so I was constantly here. You would see me here. And so it didn't look like I did any retiring. But a lot of people ask me about the consistency part, and myself included. You know, I would enroll 1 month or whatever when I'm on my travels because I can't stop talking about doTERRA. How can you? And then, but I was never consistent. And then in January when I came back, one of the questions that I had for myself was, am I being consistent? And the answer was no. And so I started to lean into this. Why am I not being consistent? And I can't tell you that for those of you who are trying to be consistent, you're trying to do the wrong thing. You're putting your energy into the wrong thing. So let me go back now to when I first fell in love with Brad. I cannot tell you what I would have done to be with him. I remember we were living about 5 hours away from each other, and we would email each other. We didn't have Facebook back then. All right. Yes, I'm old. I'm young. I'm young at heart. And so he would email me, and I would just be like checking my emails all the time. Did he email me back? Did he email me back? Did he email me back? And then as soon as he emailed me, I would drop everything to email him back, email him back, email him back. And we had this conversation flowing through email. And then at nighttime, I would get on the phone with him, and I would go to sleep listening to him talk, okay? And we would talk for hours and hours and hours, and we would show up. I would probably go to sleep at like 4:30 in the morning, 3:30, 4:30 in the morning, and I'd have to get up to be at work for 6:30. And yet I just felt alive. I just felt so much passion at that time, and there was nothing that was going to stop me. I was going to drive 5 hours to go see him. I would just eat, sleep, and dream this guy, okay? So my question for you is, do you feel the same way about doTERRA? And what part of doTERRA do you or do you not feel that same way about? Because I promise you that if you get to the place where you feel like you are in love with doTERRA, like it's your very first crush, and you are passionate the way that I was passionate when I met doTERRA, when I fell in love with doTERRA, you will want nothing more than to be consistent. And the word consistent will be falling out of your category, or falling out of your vocabulary, because it won't matter. It won't matter. You won't even have to try to be consistent. You just will. It won't feel like work. You just show up over and over. Now, just like in any relationship, you have to tweak it, right? There's leaking pipes in everybody's relationship, and you've got to tweak those leaking pipes. You can't just show up every day over and over the same way. Isn't that the definition of insanity? Showing up the same way, your pipes are leaking. You're showing up the same way, and not doing anything about it. So we have to do something about these leaking pipes. And when you're in love with something, you will work at it. And so here's the question, and here's why I wanted you to bring your notepads, okay? The question that I'm going to ask for you is, who is your ideal client? Who is your ideal client? So write that down. I'm not going to give you time to do this. So if you watch the recording, just pause it. So who is your ideal client? Meaning when they walk away from you, what do you want them to walk away with? What do you want them to feel when they walk away? Okay, what do you want them to feel when they walk away? I would love for you to write down, not necessarily who they are, meaning like, are they a mom or whatever, they can be, but what are you passionate about helping them? And then the next question, number 2, is what about yourself and your journey do you fall in love with? Right? What is it about your journey that you have felt in love with? Meaning, what is it about your journey that you have overcome, that you are so proud of yourself for overcoming, and that doTERRA has been a part of that. And maybe it's not. Maybe it has nothing to do with doTERRA. So I'm going to share with you what happened in the beginning of my business. In the beginning of my business, before doTERRA came into my life, I had an autistic son. And we cured him, along with him and the hard work that he had to do, with diet. Okay, some biochemical balancing. Now this, again, before doTERRA came along, he was already healed. And so when doTERRA came along, my second born, about 15 months before that, my second born was sick with an autoimmune disease. And it attacked his kidneys. And we had tried other essential oils. Some of you know my story. We had tried diet and diet raw. We went on a raw food diet. That was when we started the raw food kind of movement that we had. And it was one of the most amazing things that we ever did. So it removed his eczema, his bloated belly, his diarrhea. All of that went away. His mood changed big time on a raw food diet. Sometimes I wish that we were still on the raw food diet, but once he got healed, we went off of it, and we are now kind of like flexitarian, I would call us. But when doTERRA came along, I had dismissed essential oils altogether. And because I had tried them from a health food store. I never went to Walmart. I knew better than that, but I went to the health food store. I got these oils. I did what my kind of nutritional guru told me to do, and they did nothing because that's where I got them from. Now that I know why doTERRA's oils are so much more powerful than any other oils out there, my son, my son's body healed. It healed to the point where the oils gave his body what it needed to heal itself. Okay? So, ask me if I was passionate about essential oils after that. My ideal client are those people who walk away and they feel empowered to go out there and take control of their own health, to use their own intuitive power, to use their own strength, to walk away from my class feeling empowered as a woman, especially, to become intuitive in her own home, a healer in her own home, right? To walk away from the society's nonsense that you can eat this and you can eat this and it doesn't affect you, right? Because it's nonsense to think that what we put in our mouth doesn't affect us, in our brain and in our body. That's my passion. And so when I first started doing classes, guess what I started talking about? I started talking about the butt and the grain. That's how we roll here at doTERRA. We talk about butts and grains. I love me. Okay, so the gut and the brain connection was something that I was really passionate about, okay? And so, mark my word, sometimes my classes would go so long. They would go like an hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes, because I'm talking about dairy and how bad dairy is for you. And I'm talking about how bad grains are for you. And I'm talking about all the things that are bad for their kids and autism. And I'm talking about ADHD. And I'm talking about autoimmune. And I'm talking about kids. And I'm talking about the things that light me up. And I started every class with the thing that made me passionate. And I finished every class with the thing that made me passionate. So for instance, I would start every class talking about my story because it was my story that made me feel passionate. And so when I get into that mood, when I get into that depth of inside my soul where I'm passionate, mark my words, the rest of my class is going to feel something. But if I start off my class with facts coming out of my brain about what essential oils are, where they come from, blah, 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 which are great. We need to have information. I get it. So I'm not blah, blahing all the information. I'm just blah, blahing the fact that it comes from my head and nowhere from my heart. Then they're not going to feel something. And people don't buy because of what you say in your brain, the facts that you tell them. They buy because of how you make them feel. And the only way to make them feel something is if you're feeling something. And even though I was nervous, because I started with my story that I knew so well because I had told it over and over again, it got out a lot more nerves because and it moved me from here and it moved me down into my heart where I belong in a class. So that was my journey, and that's what I was in love with. And my ideal client were those who were going to not be alone like I felt alone. And that's the question, right? The third question is, what do you never want anybody to ever go through? Ever, that you had to go through? What did you, or are you going through? So let me ask this first. What did you go through that you never want anybody else to go through? How did you overcome that? How is doTERRA helping that in your life? And if you're going through it right now, and all of your negative attention is on that place in you where you feel like you're in it, you're stuck in it, then how are you going to rise out in order that people will feel your voice? Because they need your voice and they need you to overcome what you're going through in order to rise up. They need you to get out of that so you can rise up and share your voice with the world, because you are a piece of this world that they need. You are a piece of this world, and a part of the world suffers when that piece is disconnected from it. And when you don't stand for yourself, when you don't fall in love with yourself first, and from there you give to the world, a part of the world suffers. Because we need its wholeness, we need its entirety to stand. And who needs your voice? There's so many women out there who are exactly like you, who have suffered like you, and they need you to stand in the gap for them. So if for no other reason you do it for them, then I'm calling you out to stand and rise to your greatest. So that's the third question. What do you never, ever, ever want people to feel that you have felt and never want to feel again yourself? When you do this, you are going to start seeing a difference in people, right? So when I go to a class, I completely surrender the outcome. I surrender whether they buy or not. I'm not there to make them buy. I'm there to make them feel empowered. And yes, I want to stand in the gap for them to purchase these oils in their home, because if they hear from me about how great these oils are and they walk away and they buy Walmart oils, then I have not done my job. And we're all going to have those things that happen, and it's okay. But I'm not going to stop, because my purpose is not for everybody necessarily to buy from me. My purpose is that every single person hears from me. That every single person in my city, in my community, in my family knows that there's a better way. They know that there's a better truth. That's my job. My job is to raise my voice, to raise awareness that doTERRA is better. And I don't care if they join with me in the business. I care that they try these oils. And I will sample every single person. And if they say no to me, I will find another way around it. And if they continue to say no, it's okay, because that's my job. My job is to ask, and their job is to do whatever they want. And I can't force anybody to do what I'm asking them, but my job is to ask. And my pursuit is that every single person brings this in their home, yes, but I have to surrender that. I can't control that, but what I can control is that I raise my voice, that I raise my power, that I raise my situation in order that I can get out there even with fear, and I get out there and I shout from the rooftops that there's a better way. When you come from this place, even if they don't buy a kit from you, what are they walking away from? What are they walking away with? We know what they're walking away from if they don't buy a kit. Let's be honest. They're walking away from something that can change their life. But what I'm asking you is, regardless of whether they buy a kit from you, what will they walk away feeling? What will they walk away with? What's your passion? What are you so in love with about doTERRA that they will walk away with? So not just an oil, but I'll tell you what my client, or the person, not my client, my customer, my builder, what they want people to walk away with is awareness and empowerment. Awareness and empowerment is something that lights them up. And I'm so glad, like as soon as we talked about it, I could feel this shift. Because some people are going out and having classes just on a kit. And I'm telling you, if I went to your class and you told me about a kit, I probably wouldn't buy either. But if I walked into your class and you shared your heart with me, and you said that I didn't know a better way until doTERRA. And I walked away, I would walk away with hope. So the other word that I feel is my word is hope. I want people to walk away feeling hope. And whether they buy a kit or not from me, I know that every person who walks away from me feels it. Even if they never buy a kit, because I know the blockage is out there. So I hope that this helps you, because we talk a lot about why, but we don't dig in like this. And we need to dig in like this, because I've seen a lot of whys, and a lot of people will say, well, I want to help people, and they're, and I want to help people, and we all want to help people. I can help people by making them soup. I can help people by shoveling their driveway, even though I never shovel anyone's driveway. I'm just letting you know right now. If you're my neighbor, you're never going to have me shovel your driveway. But I want people to be helped, right? But this is not easy. And I can, if I walk away, this is why a lot of people don't build. They'll make somebody soup, and immediately someone looks at them and they're like, oh my goodness, you brought me soup. And then they taste it, and there's like an immediate hit to their brain. It's an immediate reward, right? But when we're doing classes, we don't always get that immediate reward, because they walk away and they never say thank you. They just maybe say, thanks for talking about this kit. But what I'm asking you is, what else can you offer in your class that people are going to walk away with and they're going to say thank you? Not just for talking about something that you're wanting them to purchase, but what else can you offer in your class? And I always did 101 classes, but I'm telling you, my 101 classes always talked about diet. I never announced or said that it was about diet. It was kind of a surprise to them. But I always talked about food. I always talked about eliminating food that will help change your life, So they always walked away with something extra from me. So can you think about that? What extra things can you offer so that when they leave, they feel whatever word that you want to do? So then finally, I want to know your word. What's the word that you want people to walk away from? And I'd love to see you post it on here. For me, it's empowerment, it's hope. I would say the real word is hope. And definitely empowerment. I want women to feel like they are, like I said, the healer in their own home. Natalie Goddard talks about that. But so that's my word. What's your word? What do you want people to walk away, even if they don't buy a kit? Okay? Because that's going to make you feel rewarded. That's going to make you feel in your class like you have shown up no matter what. And make no mistakes, we want them to buy a kit. We want them to buy something for their home. But do you see the difference? Do you see the difference that I'm talking about? Oh, I'm loving these words. Hope, nurturing. Yes. How are they going to feel these? So when you start your next class, this is what you're going to say to them. You're going to say, hey, everyone, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to come, because I know that you could be anywhere and you chose here with me. And so I want you to know that the first thing that I want you to walk away with today after this class is empowerment, is hope, is to feel nurtured, is awareness. Number one is awareness. Val says awake, aware, and aligned. So, you can say, I want you to walk away with three things. Number one, I want you to walk away awake, awakened. Number two, I want you to walk away aware. And number three, aligned. And in your class, if there's more than one word, this is good for you, Val, because you've got 3 words. If there's more than one word, or even if there's just one word, in the middle of your class, you can say, okay, a little test, you guys, a little test for you. Don't be scared. I'm just going to throw out a little test. And then I got this idea from Teresa Harding. What was the one thing I wanted you to take away today? And they're going to remember your word. For the rest of their life, they will remember the word that you wanted them to walk away with. And you can, when they say that word, whoever says it first, throw them a little sample bottle. And if it's a wine and wellness or a whatever, then make them what I'm going to do this for my next class. So I'm just going to give you what I'm going to be doing, because I like to have a little bit of fun. But for my next class, I'm going to have different types of drinks. So wine will be one, and then I'm going to have other drinks, and anybody wants a shot of something. And then every time I ask a question, right? So if it's like you want people to walk away feeling safe and or knowing that these oils are safe, they're effective, and they're inexpensive, right? Compared to everything. So every time that you say, every time you ask a question, the first person who says it, everybody else has to take a shot. And I wouldn't make them take a shot, but just a sip of their shot, okay? Because I don't want them drunk by the end of it. And then they'll think I totally took advantage of them, and they all signed up diamond kits. Nadia says, drink wine every time you hear the word hope. Yeah, that's a great one too. So every time you hear me say the word essential, or whatever word that you use, every time you hear me use the word doTERRA, or every time you hear, then you got to take a sip or something like that, right? It can't be a word you say often, because honestly, everyone's going to be drunk. All right. So make your classes fun, but make them feel something at the same time. Hand out these little sample bottles in every class. Throw them a little sample bottle every time you ask a question. Write it down on a piece of paper that you have, or write down the questions that you're going to ask, and then have them do it. So I hope this helped you guys. I love you so much. I'm just trying to give you as much wisdom and knowledge as I, hear from people and that I learn along the way. So, yeah, let me hear your word, you guys. Bye.